Hi, my name is Annie, and welcome to the Walking Word, where we go through the Holy Bible in a year as part of discipling. We are in a new book now, the book of Ruth. The beauty about the book of Ruth, we will just finish it in the next 20 minutes. It's a short book, it's 4 chapters, and we'll start with chapter 1, which is Naomi is in Moab. Something about the book of Ruth is that it is a historical book. The author is not really known. However, it is agreed even as we read because it's a dialogue. Actually, three-quarters of the book is a dialogue. um, One of the things you'll notice is there are places where you can tell it's around the time of the judges, so no royalty per se. The other thing is because we also know it traces back. From this, we'll see the marriage of Ruth and how it starts building up the ancestry of Jesus, because it's from Ruth that we'll get the lineage of David, and from David we get the lineage of Jesus. So Ruth is a Moabite woman, again, so not an Israelite woman, but one thing that is so beautiful to her, and God has chosen to use this story as a foreshadow of Christ's return and his relationship with his bride, is because Ruth was from a tribe unknown in darkness, but immediately she came into the chosen tribe. Her life changed. I mean, her life starts in chaos and in pain, but it ends so beautifully. It ends so beautifully. So I think the story here is just watch out for the foreshadowing of Christ. Watch out for a heart of a woman who pursues God and pursues instruction, because one of the things God is very clear about is that my people perish for the lack of knowledge. And when you reject knowledge, I, God Himself, will reject you. So that's what God says. I will reject you. You reject knowledge, I'll reject you. But he also acknowledges that his people perish for the lack of knowledge. And in such of simplicity of heart and kindness, Ruth follows her mother-in-law. And it's through that she's named in the lineage of Christ. Such a beautiful story. Um, let's begin the book of Ruth. Congratulations, first of all, you made it to the book of Ruth. So let's read. Ruth chapter 1. Naomi is in Moab. Once in the time of the judges, again we said, this story happened around the time of Judges. Once in the time of the Judges, there was a famine in the land. So a man from Bethlehem of Judah departed with his wife and 2 sons to reside in the plateau of Moab. Okay. The man was named Elimelech. Elimelech. His wife Naomi, and his sons Malon and Chilion. They were Ephrathites. They were Ephrathites. So meaning from the tribe of Ephraim. Yeah. The 2 sons of Joseph. Joseph had Manasseh and Ephraim. They were taken in as Jacob as sons. Okay. They were Ephraimites from Bethlehem of Judah. Sometime after their arrival on the Moabite plateau, Elimelech, the husband of Naomi, died. And she was left with her 2 sons, who married Moabite women, one named Orpah, the other Ruth. When they had lived there about 10 years, both Marlon and Chilion died also, and the woman was left with neither her 2 sons nor her husband. I mean, can you imagine that amount of loss? You leave home because of famine, poverty, no food, no nothing. You move to a different place, and this place that you hope will give you um, um, some sense of life, takes life away from you, takes away your husband, takes away your 2 sons, your only 2 children. She then made ready to go back to the both Malon and Chilion died also, and the woman was left with neither her 2 sons nor her husband. Verse 6. She then made ready to go back from the plateau of Moab because word reached her there that the Lord had visited his people and given them food. Okay, so word came to her when she was in the land of Moab that, hey, there's now food back in Israel, with the Israelites amongst your people. So go back to Bethlehem. She and her two daughters in law left the place where they had been living. Then, as they were on the road back to the land of Judah, Naomi said to her two daughters, now they're going back because, I mean, you've been married already, so you belong to that family, so you travel with your um, people, right? Naomi said to her two daughters in law, go back, each of you, to your mother's house. Okay? Go back, each of you, to the mother's house. Go back. May the Lord be kind to you as you were to the departed, to my husband and my sons, and to me. You guys have done your part. I mean, I release you basically. And you'll see this a lot in Eastern cultures, even in African cultures, where if a bride is young and maybe she didn't have any children by her husband or anything like that, um, her husband's family could choose to release her and continue with her life, you know. So this is what Naomi is doing. She's letting go. She's okay. You guys have been good to me. You are kind to my sons. You are kind to my husband. You've been kind to me. I give you permission to go live your life. May the Lord grant each of you a husband and a home in which you will find rest. She kissed them goodbye, but they wept with loud sobs. So they loved her too. You can tell they loved her too. They loved their mother in law and told her they would return with her to her people. So they were both convincing her, both of them, both Orpah and Ruth. They both were trying to convince her that we will come with you with your people. Go back, my daughters, said Naomi. Why should you come with me? Have I other sons in my womb who may become your husbands? I don't have any kingsman. My life is done. I don't have anything to give you. So this is what she's trying to say. Go back, my daughters. Go, for I am too old to marry again. And even if I could offer my hopes, or if tonight I had a husband or had born sons, would you then wait and deprive yourselves of husbands until these sons grew up? You know, basically she's telling them, number one, I'm too old. And I know my culture dictates and our beliefs dictate that I can, now that my husband is dead, I can remarry again and I can bear children, and these children, they can now be your husbands. Remember the law of the Levitical law we had read in, or yeah, that we had read in the book of Judges, where if, and also in the book of Deuteronomy and uh, Leviticus, is that you can remarry, but you should remarry from your husband's kinsman. If your husband dies, you're allowed to remarry either his brother or his kinsman. And so that's what she's saying. Even if I was to remarry at this point, like how long will you wait for these guys to grow up and be ready for marriage? So come on, go back, girls. My lot is too bitter for me because the Lord has extended his hand against me. Again, they sobbed aloud and wept, and Orpah kissed her mother in law goodbye, and Ruth stayed with her. So Orpah was like, okay, mom, cheers. And she went back. See now, she said, your sister in law has gone back to her people and her God. And her God, small g, and her God. Go back to the Moabites. Take note, eh? Go back after your sister in law. But Ruth said, do not ask me to abandon or forsake you. For wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, big G, and your God will be my God. Mm, 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 mm. Can you imagine? Where you have the option of choosing any other life now, you're free. No mother-in-law, no father-in-law, no husband, no nothing. You have the option of starting life all over again. but you choose to follow this person. Wherever you die, I will die, and there I'll be buried. May the Lord do so and so to me, and more besides, if aught but death separate me from you. Naomi then ceased to urge her, for she saw she was determined to go with her. So Naomi already now saw, okay, this one is here for the long haul. And so they returned to Bethlehem. So they went on together till they reached Bethlehem. On their arrival there, the whole city was a star over them. And the women asked, can this be Naomi? Because remember, she's coming back looking frail, looking beat down by life, coming back with loss, no husband, no children, no nothing. And she's just coming. Can this be Naomi? But she said to them, do not call me Naomi, call me Mara. Do you remember from the story we read back in, um, I believe it was, it was part of Moses' story. So it has to be Exodus thereabout. And the water gushed out bitter water. So it's called Mara, bitterness. Call me Mara, for the Almighty has made it very bitter for me. I went away with an abundance. I went out when I went to the land of Moab. I had a husband, I had children, I had another daughter-in-law. But the Lord has brought me back destitute. I've come back empty-handed. Why should you call me Naomi, since the Lord has pronounced against me, and the Almighty has brought evil upon me? Thus it was that Naomi returned with the Moabite daughter-in-law Ruth, who accompanied her back from the plateau of Moab. They arrived in Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest. Uh, Barley harvest um, was in modern time, they would say it's around the April time. And remember, it was also, if you look at some of the instructions, the laws that God left for Moses, it was at this time of harvest, there were some there were some festivals and some sacrifices that were meant to be given unto the Lord. So let's move to chapter 2, where Naomi, or rather Ruth, meets one of Naomi's relatives known as Boaz.